both worked at the Greensboro Montessori School in the middle school, and Doug's the greatest math teacher that ever walked the earth, and to this day still tutors my child and many other children, and that's pretty much how we met. And then I started doing the music ensembles there, and one day Doug just came into the music ensemble room and was playing the piano, and I was like, oh, he plays the piano. So I sat down and started, it's basically a full studio. We sat down and started playing the drums or played whatever, and then that's my take on it.
Well, I think we have to go back further than that, because music-wise, I took music in high school, and maybe my first or second year in college, I played the trumpet and the tuba. But
I didn't know that until this moment.
And because I grew up in the Black church, just the music is always fantastic, and everybody wants to be that organist or that musician, So many years later, probably in my 30s and 40s, I bought a course, and that's how I started playing the keyboard, from that course. And fast forward, here we are now talking about something we wrote together because of that history.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, I was just going to say, that's what drew me into, I'm very close friends with Doug, and we work together really well there. And, but also the fact that he plays gospel chords, or you walk by the room and he'd be playing 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton and literally singing along with it. And he would randomly burst into songs like that, or I Feel Like a Natural Woman. He burst into that many times with the kids. Doug's personality, and plus he's so easy to get along with. And then we just started having some of the graduates from the school and the music ensemble play with us. And that's how we got the name we perform under, which is Reverend Cleveland, because his real name is Cleveland. So he's the Reverend. Reverend Cleveland and the graduates. So the graduates just keep changing.
Nice.
All right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you two perform as a duo?
No.
We write stuff. We perform out, but it's usually with some of the kids that have graduated. Just any number of kids change over, and they graduate from our school, and then in high school they'll play with us and play out and stuff like that.
Does the style of music change depending on the kids?
Yes. All the time. And
What's the oldest kids y'all have, like, alumni?
The oldest were anything before college, so 18.
Yeah. Junior and senior in high school, yeah.
But until COVID, we were playing with a drumming student of mine who was in 6th grade, Mahinda, and he's a very good drummer. But he got, COVID came, and his dad's head of infectious disease up in Danville, so there was no way he was going to be able to come to our house anymore.
Yeah.
But that's the range, 6th grade to 12th grade.
We're lucky to have you, man.
Well, thank you. It was an enriching experience, I think. We sent a lot of people to Weaver, the performing arts school in town, for everything, because I taught art too, and same way, and very practical life and stuff. So I think we have a big impact on kids, and I know Doug still does. So.
Well, so when COVID shut the school down, did you two continue finding ways to collaborate, or did you find a way around it?
For probably the first 5 or 6 months, we didn't do anything. And once we started, probably back up in August, that's when, because we decided to do in person, we restructured the entire school so that there's limited amount of student access with other students and teachers with other teachers. And so our circles, we tend to be around the same people. So we felt that it was pretty safe that we could start at least practicing together again, because some of the students that I tutor are, or some of my clients or some of his clients. So we're still, you know, around the same people. And so we felt that it was pretty safe to start practicing again. And it was easy, rough, if I could say that, because I don't think we had a direction. We didn't have a direction, so we would come up with just kind of different pieces, but it would never materialize into something we felt that was lasting. And then this particular project came up, and it was kind of refreshing. It was different, kind of exploring new ways of, or different styles, blending different styles. Because we're used to blending kind of the chords with the rock and roll, but just adding other styles together to see what would come up, and this is where we are.
And let me clarify too, I don't work at the school anymore. I haven't worked at the school for 2 years. So when he says my clients, like the people I'm doing renovations or additions for, it's mostly clients from the school, and so their kids are being tutored by him. So that's how we were in the same environments all the time. Plus he tutors my daughter, so he came here every week, and we just pretty much stayed after that. Yeah. But to his point, Molly, I don't know how you write, which I'm curious about, but you know, when he said a direction, we pretty much sit down here and just start playing something and then record it. And then my test is I don't listen to it for a few days, and I go back and listen to it. If it still grabs me, then we'll try it again next week. But if it doesn't, it just goes into the oblivion.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because when he sends me the stuff, I'm like, I don't remember doing this, and it doesn't sound like what we were doing that previous week. So it's kind of interesting like that for some reason.
Well, let's go back to the painting. It's interesting too that you're an artist. I wonder if you could just start by what happened when you two started scrolling through the website. What happened when you found the painting, and describe the painting? Like, what did you see? What kind of style did you see? How did it kind of speak to you as an art teacher?
Well, Molly, I did go to art school, so I felt that it was a representation of man's struggle with the transcendental nature of COVID.
That's right.
That's
right.
I mean, Pete can remember that, the crap he went through in the ivory tower, where you'd be convinced that, you know, a naked woman in a room full of coal represented what I just said. It just, so what grabbed me about the painting was the awkwardness of it. And then as I looked at it closer, the fact that it's on a panel that existed as something else before. It's got hinge marks on, I believe it, or hinge holes. So apparently it was a door on something. And to me,
yeah, cabinet door.
Yeah, to me, that spoke to me being recycled back into the dating world. So
Wow.
That's good.
That's so poignantly me.
You're just old.
I'm ready to get on with the rest of my life. And I don't know about you, Molly, but I found it completely depressing to be back in the dating world at 40 something, and as jaded as everybody is and protected. It was just, I felt like that was the painting I've been in. You know, just here I am again, trying to hook up, trying to do my best, look my best. I'm excited, and it's really not going well. It does not appear to me to be going well in the painting.
And see, again, for me, it's kind of completely different. I think it's okay for people to be whoever you are, just put that out there and you take it. If you like it, that's okay. If you don't, it's so okay. I'm this awkward, crazy kid that likes stuff that nobody else likes. I work out 6 days a week, and then on a Saturday night after I get done working out, I come and try to write a song. So diverse. And it's so okay to be who you are. And we don't want people to be imperfect. We want them to be whatever we're presenting on social media, which is so not who we are. Just be yourselves, and if it works, it works. And if you do not like me, that is so okay. I am still happy with the person that I am.
Nice.
Well, so when does it go from, and did you guys write the song already? I don't know. Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when does it, so what happens from, and you described a little bit about how you work previously. Did that process change at all because you had a painting as a prompt and a specific story?
I don't think so. He said play some chords. So I started playing some chords. And then he found the bass line that he liked. And then we adapt the chords to the bass line. And then we modified here, modified there. Well, we have those chords. What can you tinkle with up there? Which is what I hate, because that's all he's asking me to do is tinkle something up there. And I'm not a tinkler. So he said, tinkle something up here, or I don't like that tinkle, do something else. And it's just, that is the process from beginning to end. And then we take all of those processes and put them together and see how it sounds. And I think what I really liked about this, there are some obvious mistakes, and we didn't go back and redo the obvious mistakes. I like those mistakes in this particular song because, again, it just goes to who we are as individuals, our perfections and our flaws. And this is who I am, love me or leave me. But I'm so okay with that. I'm so okay if I'm going on a first date and you do not like me at all and you're ready to end that. That is not gonna hurt my feelings.
Well, let me ask you too, because he mentioned that when you sit down at a piano, you can kind of play anything from like 9 to 5 to.
That is
That's true.
Well,
He's going to be self-effacing here.
well, so I'm kind of curious, when you were pulling chords randomly for this painting, was there any thread, like, were you pulling from a gospel influence, or was it a pop influence? Like when you sit down to write a song about a first date, what references did you start to kind of pull from?
If I can go first, what I like about working with Doug is because every song we write has that gospel element to it. So it gives you a whole new, you're doing neo stuff, neo rock, neo new wave, neo punk, because I'm writing a punk song maybe, but Doug is still playing gospel chords no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. But in this case, when you're asking about a thread, there would be specific things that once he had some chords and I had the bass line, I would say, oh, this feels like this to me. This feels like the awkwardness I see in the painting. And Doug would go, oh yeah, I'll make these chords more awkward. And then he would augment the chords to make it more awkward. And then I make it really hard for him because he's run through my laptop on Logic Pro, and we can hear his piano through its speakers, or we can turn it off and hear the instrument he's actually playing through Logic. And he'll be playing the chords and I will be changing the sound of the instrument actively while he's playing.
Wow.
And he just hangs tight. That's what I love about working with him. He just keeps playing. And then after about 8 EDM synth bass selections, I finally find the one that's right. And Doug hasn't blinked an eye, and he's still playing those chords on that thread. So,
what I listen to music completely different from the rest of the world, I think, because I don't really pay attention to the words. I'm listening for progressions. So, and I think whatever song I'm listening to, whatever that progression is, that's the progression that I'm going to bring. And I forget about the rest of the song and focus on that particular progression. So whatever 4 or 5 or 10-second progression that is, that's the progression that I'm going to focus on. And that's probably where we'll start. So I can't remember the song that I was listening to, but it had this A flat progression in it or whatever. And that's kind of where we started. Yeah. And then it developed into what you have there.
Oh man, I love a song in A flat. My favorite chord to start with. I don't know why, but it's true.
Yeah, Doug does not stay in the major keys, and that's a good point. He'll show up and he'll sit down and start playing a song he's been practicing, and whatever key that's in,
Okay,
that's usually
not
what
a
we make.
song, a particular progression
Okay,
from a
there you
song.
go, there you go.
Because, because I'm at the gym 2 hours and my phone is in my hand just rewinding that 10-second progression so that by the time I get home, okay, yeah, it's starting with C, then you go to A, then you come back to a D, C, F, F sharp, G. So that was one of the progressions that I heard, and that sounds really well. So that's what we're gonna do.
That's awesome. Pete, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm always kind of I think I'm the only non-musician in this whole discussion. And I find that aspect of what Doug was just talking about, I don't understand that. Just like lining up within that progression, those chords, and why this one makes sense with that one. Obviously, when I hear it, it sounds harmonious and things like that. But I'm curious, is that a mood thing that you're chasing, Doug? Or do those?
It could be. I'm listening for kind of the conflict and the tensions in the chord, and
Yeah.
then how it kind of resolves.
Yeah.
Like it's most gospel songs, they kind of revolve around 3 or 4 chords until you get to like that bridge or the end where you have that really long progression. So the first part is really kind of uninteresting because you have that same 3 or 4 chords until you get to that part where it's really emotional or it's really heavy. And that's the part that kind of pulls me in with the song. Not necessarily the words, but it's just kind of that particular progression that's going on.
All right. So that I was side stage for Molly, and I talked about this years ago. I was side stage at a show, and the way I was situated was next to the backup singers. And when they kicked in, I started crying.
Yeah.
And like the audio, if you're side stage, the audio is not that good, but I was literally within 10 feet of these ladies singing backup, and it about took me to my knees.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell is going on? How is this? What is this?
And
is it this thing that human beings and music, how does it just kick us in the heart like that, And what you were saying, the kind of the boring part of the song, and then that hit.
Yeah.
And it takes you in the church, it takes you to your knees and you're praying. But
I've experienced the same thing. I was literally doing something as mundane as jackhammering the concrete out of my garage. And I was cleaning up the edge, and I was listening to NPR, and they had this fantastic African-American woman who was hosting a poetry festival. And he said, "Would you mind doing one of your poems?" And she said, "I love it." It's gonna choke me up when I say it too. She just, to warm up for her poem, she just went, "Bah," and just like hit this note. And I became overwhelmed and started bawling in this dirt in my garage until she stopped hitting those notes and started her poem. And it's happened a second time since then with another person's voice. So I don't know if it's necessarily the progressions. For me, it's whatever's in that voice. So I can totally get behind you hearing 3 people layering some chord that just nailed you to the wall.
But what is that? Like, that's really part of this whole discussion, all these mega conversations. One of the things I really, really want to figure out is, how does that work? And it works in visual art too. I had an experience with a sculpture where I walked in, it was a figurative sculpture and something that I wanted to see for a long, long time, Michelangelo's David. And like, I went in with 8 people, and slowly they all just peeled away from me because I wasn't moving. Like, I was staying right there. And eventually I saw him take a breath, and killed me, like just killed me, And it's like, but what the hell is that? Where does that come from? And why do we do it? Why are we writing songs? Why is David painting that painting? And then that painting grabs you. It's just, it can be so incredibly intense.
Yeah.
I can't imagine if we didn't have it. Like that just doesn't exist for me. We have to have music and art.
Well, I would say because it happened for me personally when I was doing something mundane. I wasn't set up. I wasn't at a concert. I wasn't trying to do anything. That there's some innate thing in the world that ties us together. It could be peanut butter, or it could be a flat chord, and it has to be an A flat chord from that woman, not Doug. You see, it has to be the voice that combines with that chord on a day that hits me. It's like a science experiment to me, which proves, and I'm a big skeptic, but that to me proves that there's something there that you're searching for. I can't put a name on it.
But don't we all put a little piece of who we are in what we do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious to hear what David Childers has to say about why music and art can have the effect that brings a person to their knees. What's your experience with that, David?
Well, it's kind of weird, but I look at music as a gift that angels have given to us. It's a holy thing, and it's a spiritual connection. But I have no idea how to analyze it or, articulate what that is. I have this. I think a lot of us do. I have this loneliness in me that is fed by things like music or just beauty, basically beauty, even if it's grotesque, like that painting there, or somewhat twisted. But I really don't know how to explain it other than I really see it as a spiritual cosmic gift. And it's to be this. It's so important to people. Playing music for people, I see how they need it. I've talked about this before, and it's not just me up there playing. It's these people receiving it, and it's like religion. I mean, I'm not a church person. I have been off and on. But the gigs that I find myself playing generally become like church, or like a church I want to be in. There's a joy that's transmitted with it. But it fills up that loneliness, and me, it inspires me to go out and to try to create something so I'll feel like I'm worth something. That's how it is with me.
Are you... So you said like it transfers, and is that always open? Like, I'm just wondering, how do you open yourself up to receive, you're talking about angels, to kind of receive the inspiration, and then what you turn it into? I just feel like
it's like
more open.
It's like prayer. I had a friend, his motto was work and prayer. And again, I have strange beliefs on all this stuff. I'm like a Christianized pagan, but you have to leave yourself open to spiritual forces they're very real things that are with us all the time. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times I don't have that. I mean, I'm having to, deal with some kind of bullshit that pops up, broken sewer line or something, and different things that come up. But I think I'm just, and now particularly since I used to be an attorney, so I would be very focused on that stuff, and then there'll be certain times where I would allow the inspiration to come in, and I had to shut it out a lot of times though, so I could do that job. That was a different kind of spiritual thing going on there. Now, since I'm, I do this full time, I just think I'm open to it more, and it's that the receptors are working a lot better.
So what forces were at work when the idea came for this particular painting that became a song?
I have no idea. That's a theme though, alienation and separation of people is interesting to me. I mean, these people in my mind, like I put this inconvenient wall right between them. They're not really sitting together. They're close enough that they can communicate, but there's still a wall that they got to work on. And I don't know what that waitress is. You know, a lot of times it's just filling up space. But maybe there's, maybe there's something guiding me to put that there and make it look like that. But I mean, I don't really paint pretty things because I don't think the world's very pretty. It's I always feel more connected to like these. Well, like there was a German painter named Grosz who he always
one of my all-time favorites.
He literally is pretty. People start barfing when you mention it.
I absolutely.
Well, I really can't tell you that much. I'll leave that for other people to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel kind of good about the project, because that was the way I was interpreting it when you said like there's a wall there. To me the scene is awkward, just painfully awkward. So we wanted to have a song that conveyed awkwardness, and that's why I tried, didn't know whether it would work or not. You never really know. Tried the samples from Charlie Brown's Teacher that we mixed into the song, because it seems like that wall is there where you're just, I mean, how many movies have you seen where people are on a blind date and one of them's excited and talking, the other one's just totally tuned them out? So it's
not just movies, man.
Yeah. See, it's
but there is the possibility though, it's not a hopeless situation necessarily. That's
what Doug and I talked about, is that we didn't want to make the song sound like it was the worst date ever.
Exactly.
We wanted to get the hopefulness that I see in the guy's face of like, I've done this a bunch, it hasn't worked out, I'm gonna give this a shot again, I'm gonna keep trying. And we purposely did have a discussion about, all right, at this point in the song, we need to make everybody, give them a little hope again.
Yeah. But it's ambivalent still. I mean, life is ambivalent. It's sort of like Robert Frost, coming to the two roads in the woods. I like Fellini a lot. Old Fellini, the dude nothing's ever resolved. It's like life just is always changing every minute, and he takes characters from one place to another, and then it's like, what the hell's going to happen next, we don't know. But that's just how life is, moment to moment. Yeah. I mean, I'm living good moments now. I know, I've got rough days ahead, when I make that transition from this life to next, but we just have to make the best of it. That's where maybe that ambivalence is good.
Yeah.
Well, transparently speaking, so I had a first date at a David Childers show.
Really?
It was Beer Co. and Graham, like 2 years ago. It would have been around this time.
Oh, yeah. It was a nice little place.
It is a nice place. The date was super awkward.
And I didn't help it any.
No, it was, I think, so music is the great connector though. And if I have a really hard time in relationships where the music isn't compatible. If the music isn't compatible for me, it's really hard for me to connect to the person. And so you were this great common ground for myself and this other person. We both had a great, a tremendous admiration and affection for your music. And so that makes what could have been a very awkward situation so comfortable. But the relationship didn't work out, but the music was our kind of common bond.
It got you through that.
Oh, music. Well, so music is the, music is the thing that gets me through everything.
Yeah.
Most of my songs come from having very painful experiences and wanting to turn them into something beautiful.
Yeah.
It gives me a great sense of purpose. But I'm kind of curious how many possibly first dates have happened at your shows, because you're so well known, and so you're so well known and so many people know you that you give people a chance to come together. You give somebody a reason to call the person up and risk being awkward and saying, hey, I mean, live music does that. And I think we've been missing that opportunity to kind of connect awkwardly in comfortable spaces. So hopefully you'll get back out there and be playing live again real soon.
Well, I've already started doing that. It's playing live again, and there aren't that many people coming out yet. People are cautious, and they ought to be. I'm vaccinated. The guys I play with, we're all vaccinated, so and we're careful. But people want that so bad. It's going to come back again. But I was going to say, you mentioned first dates. Yeah, I think that has happened. I've also played a lot of weddings that resulted from first date, which pays a hell of a lot better. I think our friends already tell you that weddings are great.
I'm curious now, if as you start to play out live, I want you to, again, I try to be a scientist all the time. I want you to literally keep track of, at every show, just say who's on a first date tonight.
Yeah.
See how many separate realities out there have come together under your music to because you got to kind of be strategic about that. I agree with what Molly said. The few times I've asked somebody on a first date, or maybe a second, third date, which is kind of still similar because you're at that beginning stage, you really do need to be careful about how you select that concert. So for somebody, I think it's a big respect for somebody to say, I think David Childers is a safe place and a good bet for me to reel this person in.
Wow, that's
It's like picking the right restaurant or picking the right movie.
I wish I could have gone to hear myself when I was younger. That would have been very good.
Take your first date to a GWAR show. You kind of figure it out pretty quick.
The thing is that there's two kids out there that would have gotten together because they both love GWAR.
Yeah, totally. But they would know immediately at that show if things are going to work out or not.
Or unknown Hinson.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to say his name. I'm sorry.
Whose name did you say?
Unknown Hinson.
Oh, he got in trouble, didn't he?
Yeah, I heard something about that.
He got in a lot of trouble.
He was pretty damn funny. So, up to a point.
What about,
Molly, have you got anything, or you feel like we're in a good spot?
I feel like we're in a good spot. I was just going to ask the musicians if they had any questions for Mr. Childers.
I think I'm super happy because I feel like I got a little bit of what he was putting in the painting.
Well, you both got the right idea.
No, because having made art for years, it's
I do find that interesting, and I want to jump in because I didn't look at that painting and see a first date at all, and it blows my mind that all three of you recognized that, unless it's called First Date. And
then it's called First Date.
That's the name of it.
I don't read things, but still,
that's a great.
That's an important thing he said, though, because what would have we have taken from it if it didn't say First Date? That's a whole nother conversation of how it connected us to it with that, because it could have said, lunch at the cafeteria.
Yeah, or COVID social distancing at a restaurant, right?
This was pre-COVID.
But I think it goes back to what David says and what Pete was saying, that somehow there's a connection between us, and the vibe Dave was putting out for a first date, he painted it, and it spoke to me, and it grabbed me. We looked through all those paintings on the site, you know, and that's the one that stood out of like, wait, I think I understand this. And I've said this to students as I've taught art for years, is that I heard it years ago, the difference between public, private, and intimate. If you make something like writing a song that's too intimate for people, you write it about a specific person at a specific place with specific times. And if I haven't been to that place with that person at that time, I can't really connect to it. But if you say she loves you, yeah, 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 everybody's been loved, maybe by a she, maybe not, but you can feel that, yeah, 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 because it's private. Love is private, but it's not so intimate that you can't connect to it, if that makes sense. And I think David hit me right in the private part without getting too intimate, and pulled me in with it.
What about you, Doug?
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't hurt you with that.
I would like to see maybe the first date continuation, or second date or third date from this
Or
particular,
last date.
because it would be interesting just to have this wall that's okay, this is first date and this is how this kind of evolved.
Now, what if
That's my
y'all,
crazy mind.
what if y'all wrote a song called The Last Date and then David has to paint it?
Yeah.
That would work. Just call it the
Well, I
breakup,
did
like that.
Why can't
picture.
the last date be marriage though?
See, there's the difference. It's right away. I thought it's the breakup song, and he's like, "Hey, we're getting married because it's the last day."
Hey, yay.
I'm half empty on relationships. Sorry.
I did a picture called Last Date many years ago. It was a
What?
drawing, and I colored it with crayons. It was based on the Floyd Cramer song. It's a piano instrumental. It's a very beautiful song from used to be on the radio like back in the 50s. But that's not fit for public consumption. I gave that to my brother. Not supposed to be shown till after I'm dead.
Well, are y'all, Molly,
Ow.
Molly, and Pete, are y'all ever gonna do that? Because I would like to participate in that, where you put your song up and the artist goes and does the reverse.
Well, there's an idea. We might as well. You know what, Pete? We can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Molly, you and Church Going Mule, y'all have had quite a back and forth with songs and paintings, and
That was so, that axe that she painted, that just I've never been so humbled by anything in my entire life.
nice.
What an incredible feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this thing has had that effect, though. I'm kind of curious to see what continues to tumble out of it, because it's hard to, once inspiration starts, sometimes it just disappears, but other times, if you're really lucky, it just keeps going on and on and on. And that's been my experience with connecting with this painter. And it's also really interesting to see how many painters or how many musicians have chosen your paintings, David Childers, which I just kind of find fascinating. There must be something that they recognize in the frequencies coming off that canvas with you, or door, or empty piece of wood. But there is definitely.
I like to listen to music, and I think that's common for a lot of artists. Like, you got music going on, but when I actually started painting, I was like, it was after my sophomore year in college, and I quit a job I had. I was working for the city, like doing, cleanup, ditch digging and stuff. And I went in this room, and I was breaking up with my girlfriend, and there was a lot of emotion in the music channeled into what I was painting. It just seemed to be a natural thing.
Yeah. I definitely, when I'm painting, there is music on. It's almost like I can't paint without the music.
Really?
Yeah. Just got attacked by the cat under the table. Sorry.
I can work with music, and I need it to. It puts me in different places when I work, and I have a whole theory about when you exercise and when you compete on it. But I can't listen to it when I'm making art.
But
Well, probably.
I can make music and have art on the walls. That's for sure. Can you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I know some other musicians that I've talked with, like they can't fall asleep to music because, Doug, you'd probably relate, you're analyzing it.
Mhm.
You know, whereas I might listen to music to relax and just kind of flow with it. I don't have to analyze it and try to pick it
Well,
up.
I'm like that too. I don't really analyze. I'll go to sleep a lot with music on.
Yeah. All right. I want to try that. If y'all are into it, y'all write a song called The Last Date.
Yeah.
And see what David can come up with. You into
Yeah,
that?
I'd like to do that.
Okay.
I want to hear this song. Are y'all gonna play it today, or?
I can send it.
We can't play it live because it's all tracks. You know.
Oh, I got you. I would like to hear it.
I assume Pete would have sent it to everybody by now, but
No, we normally structure it where he doesn't hear it until after we've talked about it.
Okay, that'd be fine. Of course, it is after we've talked about it almost.
You need a bit of a cursory knowledge of film, which you've already said you like Fellini, but the sample we use in the film is not Fellini, but it's poignant.
I will send it to everyone right after this.
It's not Mario Bava either.
No, I think we nailed the poignancy on it, but yeah, it's definitely not Fellini.
Well, that's all right.
All right, y'all.
You're good.
It was nice talking to y'all.
Dude,
Same here.
Nice to
It's a
meet
pleasure
you.
talking all of you.
Thanks for sharing your painting with us. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
thank y'all. Thank you for taking the time to get into it. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Let's do some more stuff, okay?
Yeah, let's keep it going.
All right.
y'all.
Right on.
God bless.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Bye guys, thank you. Have a great night.
so glad I never got involved with you. I just would have ended up being some woman who had to get up out of bed and leave at 3 o'clock in the morning and go clean your andirons. And you don't even have a fireplace. Not that I would know this.
Why are you getting so upset? This is not about you.
Yes, it is. You are a human affront to all women, and I am a woman.
Hey, I don't feel great about this, but I don't hear anyone complaining.
Of course not. You're out the door too fast.
I think they have an okay time.
How do you know?
And how do I know I know?
Because they...
Yes, because they...
How do you know that they're really...
What are you saying? That they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
saying that they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
What are you saying that they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
What are you saying that they fake orgasm?
It's possible.
What are you saying that they fake orgasm?